ahead. He's our audio person, so he'll
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
say a few sentences. Say good morning. It's nice to meet you.
Good morning. Testing. Testing. Sunday morning.
We good? Yeah. Yeah. It's hard
Fine.
to tell with the din. Yeah. That sounds good. You're a pro. I heard you hurt your shoulders.
Okay.
All right, you could also watch this. It's taped, but it's a little bit.
Good morning and welcome to All Souls. It's a joy to be here with you in the sanctuary and from wherever you're joining us via live stream. We are a welcoming and inclusive community of members and friends. My name is Gretchen Gabrielson, pronouns she, her, and I am the Spiritual Care and Membership Manager here at All Souls. Joining me in the chancel today is Reverend Pamela Patton, our wonderful assistant minister and founder of the Mindfulness, Meditation, and Buddhism program here at All Souls. A special welcome to both families with children and youth who are always welcome in our sanctuary, and to those of you who are new or visiting this morning. If you are new or perhaps come infrequently and are feeling open to it, please raise your hand. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. And for members and friends of All Souls, take a look around. They fell down, but spiritually they're still up. And welcome our newcomers to coffee hour after the service. And for newcomers, we'd love to know more about you. There's a card in the pew rack in front of you, and you can use the QR code or fill out the paper form that's in the rack and put it in the offertory later on in the service or in the box in the vestibule. We also welcome newcomers who are interested in learning more about All Souls to join me and Reverend Pamela for All Souls in 20 minutes immediately after the service. Please come to the chancel, which is up here, and we'll spend a few minutes chatting about All Souls so we can get to know you. As always, please join us for coffee hour after our service today, which will be co-hosted by the board and the All Souls Community Choir. Coffee hour is in Reedy, down 2 flights of stairs, and is also accessible by taking the ramps in an elevator. We will be having our capital campaign celebration during coffee hour today in honor of the $10.6 million in pledges and contributions raised by our wonderful community. It's a big deal. The efforts for our capital campaign are for the future of All Souls Capital Campaign to address urgent Wigan House renovations. Please join us after the service in celebration. Also, as I mentioned earlier, All Souls Religious Education is joining us in the sanctuary today and will transition downstairs after our time for all ages. The Young Adult Friendship Circle will be meeting today at 1:15 p.m., so a little later than usual, and in mine at Simon's. If you need help locating our young adult group, please come find me after the service, and I would be glad to help. Mindfulness, Meditation, Buddhism is hosting guest teacher Rev Sung Al Kwan at 1:30 p.m. Now this is going to be in the chapel. It's a change from the Forest Church Gallery. So join us in the chapel and all are welcome. The Amar Artists Chamber Choir is performing in the sanctuary at 4 p.m. today. Their performance is entitled Amar Artists Chamber Choir, Songs of Love and War. Please join us. Souls in Service will be hosting a possible potluck in Reedy on March 22nd in honor of the end of the Pasta Drive. We encourage folks to volunteer via Day of Support or by signing up to bring a dish or beverage to the event. The QR link to sign up is accessible in Friday's email. We'd love to stay connected with you during the week. We have events happening online almost every day. If you're not on our mailing list, please let us know at info@allsoulsnyc.org so we can keep you informed about everything that's happening here.
Can you fix my mic? Thank you. Magic. To let you know that Gretchen, who has now been with us for 3 years and in various roles, but mainly in membership and spiritual care, has entered into candidacy for Unitarian Universalist ministry. I'm personally super proud of her, and I'm proud of us because it takes a lot to hatch a future, hopeful, Unitarian Universalist minister. She did not come here with that ambition, and we, as a congregation, have created the space and the aspiration for her. Now, there are still several steps to go, so we'll just say our prayers and wish her well along the way, but I wanted you all to know because we can all use the encouragement.
Thank you. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you. So now, please silence your electronic devices. I invite you to quiet your hearts and minds as we prepare for the call to worship.
Our responsive reading this morning, as we light the chalice, please refer to your hymnal. There's a slight misprint in the order of service, and in your hymnal it's number 439 by Sophia Lyon-Foz. We gather in reverence before the wonder of life, the wonder of being together, so close yet so apart. Each listening, each trying to speak. We gather in reverence before all intangible things that eyes see not, nor ears can detect.
Good morning. My name is Christopher. Pamela asked me to give the opening remarks today. Normally, I would explain my association with All Souls with I'm just a stray. But Pamela told me I no longer qualify. She also told me I had to leave the safety of the last row and sit in the front row. One of my friends from the morning meditation who I relayed this interaction with, and as a person of some wisdom, made a very complicated comment to me. It was something to the effect of, we all start as strays. I'm still digesting that. To me, All Souls is intellectually and spiritually welcoming through the embracing of the fundamental values that identify our responsibilities to all others. These core values speak to the yearning to make the world better, one action at a time. I can accept this in the face of an existential anxiety around our relationship to an unfathomable and unknowable divine, and without castigation by All Souls or UU's liturgy, room is left for us who are searching, spiritual, and not willful strays. A few years ago, I encountered the work of Maimonides, one of the great Jewish scholars. He had somehow been bypassed by my Christian religious and Western philosophical education. He did not believe one should petition the Lord with prayer. You do not pray to God to change the world or outcomes. Prayer changes the person who prays, refining the character, bringing one closer to the divine. This resonated with me. All is to be done by us, not prayed for, while still embracing an unknowable divine. More recently, I became an aspiring student of Buddhism and embraced core tenets of responsibilities for our actions on the path we choose. I have always maintained that one's religion is in essence the language by which one speaks to God or expresses moral imperatives. My language skills are not great, therefore it's been very easy for me to amalgamate the best of the religious traditions I have come to know and to have a profound respect for those who are close to me and my friends of various religions. All Souls has provided the container. If this sounds a little muddled, it may be. As time goes on, my thoughts will evolve and perhaps become clearer. The only prayer I can offer is the aspiration that we have the courage and wisdom to wholeheartedly embrace the responsibility for being better and to contribute to a better world. This is the day we are given. All is to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Now please rise as you are willing and able and join in with me for the bond of union. In the freedom of the truth and in the spirit of love, we reunite for the worship of God and the service for all. Now please stay standing as you are able and join with me in singing hymn number 207, Earth Was Given as a Garden.
Good morning. Today's Time for All Ages is not just a story, but will have an element of participation for you at the end. So once upon a time, in a place not so far from here, was a little girl who loved going to church on a Sunday. Now at her church, Everyone attended religious education the hour before church, and then everyone went to church together. There were lots of different people. There were families and elders and kids from her town that she knew. Now, this little girl was a bit unique because she went to church alone. The church wasn't far from her house, and she walked there, but most of the time, once she got there, she sat alone. But sometimes her friend's mom would invite her to sit with them, which was really nice. But most of the time, she was alone in the pew. But she didn't feel alone because there were others in front of her, behind her, down a little ways. And it felt good to be in community with others. Now that little girl, of course, grew up. She got married, she had children, and she decided she wanted to go back to church. So she searched, and finally she found a Unitarian Universalist church, a lot like this one. And she took her kids. Now at that church, they always sat together for the first part, and then the children went off to religious education, a lot like we do here today. So, as a grown-up, she still found herself in a church pew, once again, alone. But after the weeks had been passed by, a few weeks at a time, other people started to notice her, and she made a few friends, and they invited her to sit with them. So once again, she felt connected to others. Now, since finding that Unitarian Universalist church, it's been 23 years. But she always remembers that feeling of connection to others. Over the years, she made invitations to others to sit with her, made some great friendships along the way, and often sat in a church pew with others or made connections with others online. So being at church can mean a lot to each of us individually, but it can also mean a lot to the others we have in our community. So here's the part where you come in. The cool part about church is that when you come here on a Sunday, you can be in community from someone who's not quite a year old to someone who's 101. How cool is that? Before we sing our children and youth out to their programs, I'd like to ask you each to take a moment and recognize what it means to be in community and know that you are not alone in your pew. So listen for my instructions. I'm going to invite you in a moment to stand, if you're willing and able. First, I'm going to ask you to turn around and speak to the camera that's in the back, in between the double doors, and just wave to the folks that are online. Sometimes I think we forget they're there, but we see you. So we'll wave to you in a moment. And then greet your neighbor. Maybe cross the aisle, greet someone you've not seen before, and just say hello. But now you'll have to listen for when the music starts, because we will sing our children out with Go Now in Peace. Now you may greet your neighbor. Hello, hello. Hello, good morning. Thank you, Christopher, for speaking. Hi, good morning.
Our reading this morning is one of my absolute favorite poems. I've been waiting for years to read this to you. And finally, the right sermon came along. It's A Noiseless Patient Spider by Walt Whitman. A noiseless patient spider I marked where on a little promontory it stood isolated, marked how to explore the vacant, vast surrounding. It launched filament out of itself, ever unreeling them, ever tirelessly speeding them. And you, O my soul, where you stand, surrounded, detached, in measureless oceans of space, ceaselessly musing, venturing, throwing, seeking the spheres to connect them, till the bridge you will need be formed, till the ductile anchor hold, till the gossamer thread you fling catch somewhere, O my soul.
Please join me in a spirit of presence. For some, that might be prayer, for others, meditation, or maybe just the stillness. If you feel led, I invite you to close your eyes and sit how it feels comfortable to you. Allow any tightness you are holding in your hands, your jaw, your body, to slowly soften. Feel your feet below you and allow your hands to rest comfortably at your side. Sense the rise and fall of your chest as your breathing slows. You can rest here. Allow whatever you are feeling, whether that be gratitude, sadness, grief, anger, joy, fear, uncertainty, or celebration, be your companions in this moment. They are welcome here. You are welcome here, just as you are. Spirit of love, when the world is and feels loud, bring us back to this moment of pause, where together we sit alone in silence. May this moment hold spaciousness for our beautiful and messy journeys and serve as a homecoming to a collective space of togetherness, rest, and tenderness. Spirit of love, open our hearts to hold contradictions with gentleness. May we turn to water as our teacher, mirroring the same fluidity for the ways we see ourselves and others as the waves do in their ebb and flow. Spirit of love, open our hearts to the suffering of our siblings. May the cries and tears of those who find themselves most at risk, those who war and bombs and hate find them, move us to honor that we each are threads in the communal tapestry of life. Move our hearts to bear witness to those who need us to know their suffering is not unknown to the rest of the world. May our hearts break open and be moved to advocate for those who seek peace and justice in the face of war. May our hearts imagine and feel the ripple effects of suffering as if it were our own. Spirit of love, allow the pain of those who experience climate disasters firsthand and are rebuilding their sense of home and grieving what was, those who face systemic injustice of every kind, racism, transphobia, ableism, fat phobia, homophobia, misogyny, ableism, ageism, and much more, those who are grieving, those with mental health struggles and physical health struggles, those who live life in fear. Help each of those people find the softness and gentleness of the still moment we are experiencing now. For we are all worthy of stillness, of safety, of the abundance of love. At times, many have found themselves alone, exhausted, and afraid during this season. Remind us that our healing is not linear. There is no destination nor arrival. And allow us to hold on to the truth that spring is coming. May our Unitarian Universalist values guide us with compassion and generosity of heart in the spiral of life. And help us to remember that when we are lost and do not know our way, we can always return to this stillness of this moment, transporting our nervous system to the feet that are below you, the seat under you, your hands at your side, sensing the rise and fall of your chest as your breathing slows. This space is a sanctuary, and you can always return here to rest. May peace be our guide in our bodies, minds, and hearts, and may we know more of love by advocating for collective liberation for us all. May it be so. Please rise in body or in spirit and join with me in singing hymn number 205, Amazing Grace. Please be seated. Our practice of collecting an offering is a sacrament of this self-sustaining and self-governing congregation, which is supported by the voluntary generosity of all who join with us. Today is Share the Plate Sunday. A portion of our offering will go to the New York Immigration Coalition, which encompasses immigrant and refugee organizations. Please see page 7 in your order of service for more information. Our offering today will now be given and received to support our mission of transforming our own lives and the world around us.
Desire
Our fabulous choir is about to leave for Spain for performances in several cities that are produced or presented by Teatro Royal, which is one of the preeminent opera companies in Spain. So in Europe, I should say. So it's quite amazing, and I want to wish them well in their travels and in their singing all over Spain. Fortunately, we only have to miss them for 1 week. one Sunday. When I moved to New York City in 1995, I thought it would be temporary. One of the primary reasons I stayed, though, and decided to raise a family here is because it's a proving ground for theology, which is always developing for me. I'm constantly in constellations of strangers, bumped aggressively as I'm getting on the bus, or warmly assisted by someone who looks nothing like me. I've witnessed bloody fights on the sidewalk and acts of generosity that would never occur to me to do myself. Sometimes I feel like this lone stranger in the midst of all this activity. And then at other times I feel like a tiny part of this giant interactive miracle machine. A couple of months ago, I was on the subway when a migrant woman and her toddler walked through the train car, and she was quietly proffering chocolate. Her son walked beside her. They sat across from me to rest, and most of the seats were full, but nobody was standing in the car between us. We could see each other pretty clearly, the mom, the boy, and I. The boy walked across the aisle and tucked himself over my knee and the knee of the man to the left and started swinging. Needless to say, I was overjoyed, as was the man next to me. It felt like we were grandparents together. It was so intimate. I was rubbing the boy's back, and he was petting his head. It was so sweet. But sadly, the poor mother was terrified, despite how warmly we greeted him. And then the woman next to the mother started yelling at her in English, telling her not allowed to let her child touch strangers, referring to the man and me. The woman yelling said she was a teacher and scolded the mother loudly for her negligence. The mother got more terrified. I said to the teacher, "The mother probably can't understand English, so please stop yelling." And the teacher said, "Well, she said chocolate." The man next to me to my right said he too worked with children and asked her firmly, "Please stop yelling." And the boy kept swinging. At the next stop, the mother stood up and gingerly took her son's hand as though she might offend me by taking him with her. And everybody else got off the train too. I sat there alone without them, marveling over this amazing experience I just had. Each of us getting on the train in this sense of isolation, the mother most of all, I'm sure, and then all of us profoundly connected by the trust of this little boy. Whether we're interacting with strangers on a subway car, or we're at a concert, reading a novel, watching the terrifying news, sitting with friends at dinner, or alone at home with a bowl of cereal, we constantly drift in our feelings of degrees of connection. Writer Rebecca Solnit uses the term far away nearby as a way to describe our psychic geography. We can feel 1,000 miles from the person next to us in bed, and we can feel deeply invested in a stranger all the way across the world. There is a dialectical flow of placing ourselves in relation to others, how connected we feel in general, how we sense independence, and how we sense interdependence. When we feel strong and balanced, we enjoy this flux of independence and interdependence. We can respond intentionally with a sense of knowing how we can or cannot affect what's happening around us. We engage, hopefully. We're comfortable in the land of Faraway nearby. However, if we're not feeling so strong and balanced, our sense of independence can cross the line into loneliness, a feeling that we're disconnected, that we're isolated. And our interdependence can cross the line into powerlessness. We feel squeezed by all the conditions of our lives that are dictated by people and circumstances that we have no control over. When we're experiencing mental health challenges or addiction or grief or the intensity of the news of all the people who are suffering, we can get stuck feeling lonely or powerless or some heavy haze of the two mingling. The term faraway nearby comes from American painter Georgia O'Keeffe, known for her depiction of the landscapes of New Mexico. She had a deep affection for the evocative loneliness of the bone-strewn desert amid the horizon of the mountain. O'Keeffe had been living in New York City when she discovered the inspiration of New Mexico, and she wrote, "I have wanted to paint the desert, but I haven't known how. I always think that I cannot stay with it long enough. So I brought home the bleached bones as my symbol of the desert. To me, they are as beautiful as anything I know." She was inspired by a solitude that characterizes her ashen paintings of skulls. She spoke of a sense of life in the bones and how she loved to look through the holes in the bones at the blue of the desert sky. She took it all in, being alone with the bones, and a sense that she was deeply connected to all life. The term faraway nearby comes from her correspondence with her husband, Alfred Stieglitz, when he was in New York City and she was in New Mexico. He sometimes referred to her as my great white faraway so near one. O'Keeffe also titled a painting, The Faraway Nearby. It's at the Met, but it's not on display right now. I checked. The subject is a mule deer skull sprouting a surreal array of antlers, and it takes up most of the space of the painting. It floats on the foreground of miniature mountains. The perspective in the painting, the skull's enormity relative to the tiny little mountains, emphasizes a gulf of imagined space between the distant landscape and the deer skull, fusing the far away and the nearby. Like when we take photos of something monumental from far away and we place ourselves just right in the camera lens so that we appear to be Herculean holding a redwood tree or the Statue of Liberty. Rebecca Solnit's book, The Faraway Nearby, takes its title from O'Keeffe. The book is a memoir of intertwining stories that begin and end with Solnit's relationship with her mother, a bitter relationship from a violent childhood of wrathful and indifferent behavior on her mother's part. In the book, Solnit describes caring for her mother after she's diagnosed with Alzheimer's. As her mother's memories and personality are obscured by cognitive decline, and her mother's angry narrative of her daughter dissolves, the two of them drift together into a faraway nearby. Solnit is willing to forgive her mother for who she was and allow for the changing conditions of the relationship to bring them closer in a way. Solnit makes clear that she's not denying the past, but allowing for what she describes as an enriched connection between them under these new conditions. For Solnit, the faraway nearby with her mother is this amorphous pulling and pushing of the relationship. Like O'Keeffe, Solnit maintains a keen curiosity about the mingling of her independence and her interdependence, and the life-giving and heart-rending fluctuations between. Solnit writes, "The usual I we are given has all the tidy containment of the kind of character the realist novel specializes in, and none of the porousness of our every waking moment. The loose threads, the strange dreams, the forgetting and the misremembering, the portions of life lived through other stories, the incoherence and the inconsistency. The dialectical experience of the faraway and the nearby at once, O'Keeffe in the desert, Solnit in her differentiation from her mother, both drifting in the porousness of how they relate to the surroundings and the relationships of every waking moment. Both have devoted their lives to intentionally illustrating their experience for us, their viewers and their readers." Maury Schwartz was the star of Tuesdays with Maury, Mitch Albom's 1997 best-selling book. Maury was Albom's beloved sociology professor, an energetic and captivating teacher, a swimmer, and a wild dancer. In his late 70s, Maury was having difficulty breathing, and after many tests and doctor's visits, he was diagnosed with ALS. The book is based on a series of conversations between student and teacher as Maury's condition worsened. Albom writes, "Finally, on a hot, humid day in August 1994, Maury and his wife Charlotte went to the neurologist's office, and he asked them to sit, and he broke the news." "How did I get it?" Maury asked. Nobody knew. "Is it terminal?" "Yes." "So I'm going to die?" "Yes, you are," the doctor said. "I'm very sorry." The doctor sat with Maury and Charlotte for nearly 2 hours, patiently answering all their questions. And when they left, the doctor gave them some information on ALS, little pamphlets, as if they were opening a bank account. Outside, the sun was shining and people were going about their business. Albom writes, "My old professor, meanwhile, was stunned by the normalcy of the day around him. Shouldn't the world stop? Don't they know what happened to me?" But the world did not stop. It took no notice at all. As Maury pulled weakly on the car door, he felt as if he were dropping into a hole. Now what, he thought. Suddenly, Maury was at once completely alone, completely powerless, and no doubt his wife Charlotte was too. Horrible as his diagnosis was, it doesn't take a death sentence to feel like we are dropping into a hole like Maury. We can cross that line from independence to loneliness, from interdependence to powerlessness, and we can get locked into despair for all kinds of reasons: illness, loss, a numbness that comes from trying to process what we can do about so much distressing domestic and global news. And dear Professor Maury, what did he do from this place of despair? It wasn't long after his diagnosis that he could no longer dress himself. He was told he had 2 years to live, but he knew inside that it was less than that. He decided to fully engage with the world, respecting his limitations. He received the care of friends unabashedly. He talked about appreciating the affection of being a child again. Albaum writes, as Maury's body weakened, the back and forth to the bathroom became too exhausting. So Maury began to urinate into a large beaker. He had to support himself as he did this, meaning someone had to hold the beaker while Maury filled it. Most of us would be embarrassed by all this, especially at Maury's age, but Maury was not like that. While some of his close colleagues would visit, he'd say to them, listen, I have to pee. Would you mind helping? Are you okay with that? And often to their own surprise, they were. Maury's openness captures the dialectical nature of the human condition, a constant location in both independence and utter dependence. It was up to him to decide how to receive his visitors, how to talk with them about his dying, how to ask for help. Maury said to Albaum, offering yourself to others is what gives you purpose. But it's okay to let others offer themselves to you. We think we have to be the masters of our own lives, but really, we are all just walking each other home. In Whitman's poem, he describes the spider casting filament after filament after filament until one catches. Here we are, casting and catching each other's filament in this vacant, vast surrounding. For months, faith leaders and various organizations have been gathering at 26 Federal Plaza to sing and pray for the immigrant detainees, to cast filaments up to the 10th floor where there's an ICE holding facility, a bridge in their song and their prayer to the people who are there. I think of the mother and her son. Maybe they're there. And perhaps the songs also touch the hearts of the ICE agents inside. People who, like the teacher on the subway yelling at the mother, might feel they are doing the right thing. May our faith in the faraway nearby stretch across the vacant, vast surrounding. May we find ways to cast and catch filaments, to touch others, to make peace with ourselves, to make peace with the world.
Please rise as you are able and join me in singing hymn number 298, Wake Now My Senses.
Please be seated. And please, after the service, join us for coffee hour for a special celebration, a lunch actually, to celebrate our capital campaign. So you're all invited. As we extinguish the light of our chalice, we carry the fire of commitment and the love of this community with us always. And now in our going, may God bless us and keep us. May the light of love shine upon us and out from within us, and be gracious unto us and give us peace. For this is the day we are given. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.